Hey everyone, welcome back to Music and Moonsaults. I am your host, Chris Bordine. Before we get started, please like the video, click subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, leave a comment. Please follow me on Twitter at IbanezChris. And also, reminder, I'm doing releasing the audio of my shows now, wherever you get your podcasts. So go ahead and follow me on Spotify, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star rating, and leave a good review, and that'll help me in the long run. So today we have Matt Durr coming back to the show. We're going to talk about No Way Out 2001. This is, as we've both said many a times, this is both of our favorite era of wrestling. Early 2001. I think my time frame is a little bit wider than his. Pretty much my favorite. It's pretty much the rise of Triple H that I'm a big fan of. It's late '99 through May of 01 when he goes out with the quad injury. But for Matt, I think he says it's like November of 2000 through Wrestlemania. But yeah, no, this is an awesome time. There's a lot of great stuff. And so he's going to be on in a little bit to talk about it. So hang tight and we'll bring Matt on. Anyways, please welcome Matt Durr back to the show, everyone.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
How are you today, sir?
Excellent. Doing really good. It's been a good morning. I finished up our show that we're talking about just a little while ago, and it's put me in a great mood. So looking forward to today for sure.
Awesome. And that show we are talking about is No Way Out 2001. It was voted on by you, the people, as the show you wanted to hear me and Matt banter about. Sure, that works. This month, so yeah, and it was a pretty good show. But everything's good at home and everything.
Oh yeah. We've been at home all week. Here in Michigan, we were kind of in the house for a few days. We're like a lot of the country, got dumped on with snow, so we hung out in the house with the kids for a few days and started playing the Just Dance video game on the Switch. So you would be thrilled. I Was Made for Loving You was on that game, which happens to be my favorite Kiss song.
There you go.
So it works out pretty well.
Gene Simmons' least favorite Kiss song.
That makes it even better.
There you go. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, it's been cold, and then it's kind of sucked this week. So
yeah, we've been lucky. This is the first time all year we've had to really deal with this in Michigan. So not going to complain too much, but it's been a good week around the Durr house.
Yeah. I woke up this morning. So the wife and kid are up at her parents' house for the weekend, and I woke up freezing at like 4:00. I got up at like 4 for work, and I'm like, why is it so cold in this house? So the way our place is, our AC and our furnace are on two separate thermostats.
All right then.
Because yeah, whatever. So I looked on the thermostat for the AC, which even when you have it shut off, like it still tells you what the temperature in the room is, and it said it was like 51 degrees. And I'm like, why is it so cold? So I went over to the furnace thermostat, and it was blank. Like there's nothing, because it's a digital. I'm like, what the heck? Well, long story short, after freaking out, it's just the batteries were dead.
The batteries went. See, I was hoping that story was going to go, the wife and kid are gone for the weekend, so I got into a bottle of whiskey and turned on some 2001 WCW. And in my drunken stupor, I thought I was turning on the heat, and I turned on the air conditioning.
Yeah, no,
and that's why it's so cold.
No. So, But anyway, so got that all fixed, went to work. Work was fine. So now I'm here to talk some wrestling with you, which I always love doing.
Yeah. Highlight of the day.
Yes. So No Way Out 2001. What'd you think of the show overall, Matt?
I think you're going to be surprised. This is one of my favorite shows ever. And I would make the argument it's the best non-tentpole pay-per-view in WWE history. If it's not WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, or SummerSlam, I think this is the best one ever, start to finish.
I mean, I'd have to do some thinking on that, but I mean, sure, I'll go with it for now. That's not something I have given much thought to. But I mean, sure. I enjoyed it. It flew to me. I watched it last night, and it flew by. As I'm watching, the WWF from this era, I am also watching WCW from this era, and the WCW pay-per-views from this era feel like they take 8 hours to get through.
Sure.
And that's even like skipping, like, all right, it's a Chronic versus Natural Born Thrillers match. I don't need to see this.
Right. No one does.
But yeah, this felt like, this felt shorter than any 3-hour Raw has felt in years. Like it flew by last night watching this.
Well, and I feel like every single match and segment delivered in some way, shape, or form. Not everything was a home run, but everything lands pretty well. Mm-hmm. All the backstage, even I'm sure we'll talk about it, but even the Jerry Lawler Stevie Richards match helps lay a foundation for what we know they're going to do at WrestleMania, and it at least adds to the hatred of that group. I mean, listen when he comes out, Right to Censor is not getting any sort of like the "we cheer the bad guy" cheers. Like people hate that group, and it did a really good job of even building on that storyline. So I hadn't watched the show start to finish in probably 10 years. So when you said this is what we were talking about, I knew I was excited to watch it. And then I was blown away. My expectations it surpassed my expectations, and I was excited to watch the show. Yeah,
this is the first time I watched it start to finish since right after it happened 20 years ago. This is one of the ones I had a friend in school who would get the pay-per-views, and then he'd take them and give them to me like the next day or whatever to watch. So this was one I vividly remember him, coming home with and watching, shortly thereafter. So, but yeah, I mean, I think I probably watched, a couple of the matches, if they were on a DVD compilation or of someone or something like that. But as far as watching the whole event front to back, this is the first time since then. So, but yeah, no, I thought it was a really good show. The theme song, it sounds like, at first I thought this was like, a network overdub. Cause it sounds like, Machine Head by Bush. But it was the actual theme that they used on the show. I looked it up, so they just were like, "Yeah, sure." It was very WCW like, where they're like, "No, this isn't Machine Head by Bush. It's totally different."
Yeah, it's Basketball Highlights 16.
Yeah, exactly. But our first match is supposed to be Big Show versus Raven for the Hardcore Championship. Raven is the Hardcore Champion. But I mean, there's a whole bunch of gaga in this match. Crash Holly shows up dressed as a popcorn vendor. Steve Blackman comes out. Hardcore Holly comes out. Billy Gunn comes out, and Billy Gunn actually wins the Hardcore title for a minute, before Raven wins it back, before ultimately losing it to Big Show. This whole thing took 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah. It's like, to me, it's the perfect amount of gaga for a show like this. It's just enough where you're like, that's ridiculous. They did some goofy things. Some people got hit with weapons, which was you had to have on a show at this time. And I think it's what's missing from when I was still watching the current product. I thought that was what was missing from the 24/7 rule, is it was just the weapons and stuff added a little bit to it. And it felt like it was a good way to get a bunch of people on the card,
Yes.
get them their pop, get them the excitement, and then move on to the serious business of the night.
It wasn't just a bunch of wacky roll-ups. It was, let's hit you with a garbage can and then do a wacky roll-up.
Right. Or Blackman coming off the top with the kendo stick is like, that's a great visual.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was really fun. Real fun little sprint there. And then we, earlier in the day, we show Kevin Kelly interviewing Kurt Angle. Nothing much here. And then we get, oh man, I love this match. It's a fatal 4-way for the Intercontinental title. It's Eddie Guerrero, X-Pac, Chris Benoit, and Chris Jericho, who's the champion. Lillian Garcia interviews Eddie and Benoit before the match, and they're like, "Oh no, we'll totally be on the same page. We just both hate Jericho. As long as the belt goes to one of the radicals, everything's fine." Of course, it's not fine. This match was awesome.
You look at it on paper, and it's legitimately for the top 10 workers of the entire era in the same match. And a lot of times when you look at stuff like that, it doesn't live up to expectations or it doesn't deliver. It's almost like they're too good of workers to be in there together. And these four, it's seamless. It's great stuff. Eddie and Benoit are fantastic in their role of like teaming up at the start and then doing the inevitable, like, well, you tried to get the pinfall. No, I tried to get the submission. Like, that whole thing, it's so well done.
Yeah. So everyone's got that list of guys who should have been world champion but weren't. Shawn Waltman's not on that list, but he's on the list of guys who should have been Intercontinental champion at some point but never were. I love his spinning heel kick. When he Irish rips the guy, and when they come back, he just does that spinning kick. It's so good. Every time he hits, I see him hit it. It's like, that's such a sweet move.
The only guy who does it as well is RVD. Yeah. I've yet to see anyone else do it as well as those two guys.
Yeah,
you're spot on there.
But yeah, and it was nonstop. Like, yes, they did the typical three-way, 4-way thing where two guys would be in the ring while the other two laid out, but it seemed a lot more seamless than what you normally see, as far as, oh, here's the drop down spot, outrolls this guy and in rolls the next guy. Like, it seemed to flow a lot smoother than what I typically see in multi-man matches like this.
Right. Well, and what I noticed, piggybacking off of that, is it flows really well together, but then they still kick it into another gear. And those last 2 or 3 minutes of the match, it's just bang, 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 and there's no sloppiness. Specifically, Eddie hits a Hurricane Rana on Benoit, and it's like, it looks like he drops him right on his head. And it's so smooth and just speaks to how good all four men in that ring are. Are like, they pulled it off, no flubs, and throughout the show, I'm sure you noticed there's a few botches and things like that, but not in this match. These guys were on for everything. It was so good.
Yes. So eventually, Justin Credible, who had made his debut a couple weeks before, helping out X-Pac, he comes down to try and help X-Pac win. But eventually, Jericho pins X-Pac with, speaking of wacky roll-ups, it's very similar to the roll-up that he loses to Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 19. And 12 minutes, 17 seconds, that's what the length of this match. And it could have gone another couple minutes and it would have been just fine by me with these four guys. But it probably was probably just the right length with the pace that they were on.
Yeah, and with what was to come later in the night, you had a couple, you had one that was definitely going to go a little longer, so you don't want to give the crowd too many lengthy matches there.
Right. So then we see Triple H in the back. He's getting taped up, getting ready for his big match later. Then we get Vince and William Regal in Vince's office, and he's like, this match is between Stephanie and Trish. This is happening because of you. You know what to do. And Vince walks away and Regal's like, I have no bloody idea what the right thing to do is.
Well, my favorite part is, like, you can clearly see this is back in the day before they scripted every little movement and stuff. Regal stands up and he holds his hand out to shake Vince's hand, and Vince just like no sells it for like 20, 30 seconds, doesn't shake his hand or anything. And I'm like, that's so good.
Yeah.
Like it fits Vince's, jerk behavior boss mentality. It was so good.
Yeah. Then we should get a shot of WWF New York, and Busta Rhymes is there.
That's right.
Used to have Busta Rhymes, now we got Bad Bunny.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, he's on SNL tonight with the 24/7 title. And then Test is there. He kind of makes his prediction on the next match, which is the aforementioned Stephanie McMahon Helmsley versus Trish Stratus match. So I'm sure 15-year-old me liked this match for a completely different reason than 35-year-old me does. I really like this match.
Hey, dude, Trish and Stephanie, that whole thing was so well done. From before the Rumble, at the Rumble, this match, and post, it was. And what I noticed in this match is Trish is still relatively young into her working career. She's bumping around like crazy. She makes Stephanie look like $1 million in this match.
What I really liked about this is, so you see, especially, two women who at this point had very limited skill levels in the ring. You're expecting, just a cat fight. This is more of a brawl for most of this match.
Yeah.
Like they were fighting in the crowd. Like they were really going at it. And again, you can tell how much I've evolved as a person because I was really into it until they got to the spot where Stephanie starts ripping at Trish's clothes. And then I'm like, don't know if we needed that.
Yeah.
But then Regal comes down, and at first he pulls Trish on top of Stephanie, and then changes his mind and puts Stephanie's foot on the rope to break up the count. He and Trish start arguing, and she slaps him. He hits the Regal cutter on her, and then puts Stephanie on top of her to win the match. Stephanie wins the match 8.5 minutes. It's nice in and out. And then afterwards, you get Vince berating Regal backstage. That wasn't the right thing to do.
Well, and Regal tries to defend himself, and he goes, "Damn it, that's not what I asked you to do." And Regal's eyes light up. Like, again, you can tell this isn't a scripted, like, he's genuinely reacting to Vince screaming at him. And it's just, and that's Mr. McMahon at his absolute best. Like, and that's what I was saying earlier. Every segment delivered. And what I liked about it too is it set up a match for the next night to give you some intrigue and give you something else to look forward to that isn't just about the world title picture.
So to catch people up that aren't either don't remember or haven't watched, this era before. So the thing was, when Vince goes away in the summer of 2000 to become a genetic jackhammer, because he thinks Linda wants another baby. And he ends up coming back right before Christmas. Or no, it was in November, actually, because it was before the Armageddon. And after Armageddon, he fires Mick Foley. And then, like, the next week, he asks for a divorce from Linda, and then she goes catatonic or some stupid. And so he starts seeing Trish on the side, but he's trying to kayfabe Stephanie. He's like, "No, we're just friends. I'm not fooling around with Trish. And Regal and Trish are the item." And so it's been like 2 months of Stephanie trying to prove that Vince and Trish are having this affair. So like you said, it comes ahead the next night on Raw after this pay-per-view. It's going to be Regal and Stephanie versus Vince and Trish. So.
And is this around the time that Regal has to join the Kiss My Ass Club?
No, the Kiss My Ass Club hasn't debuted yet. I don't think that debuts until after the invasion.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, because I believe I believe Regal ends up joining the Alliance, so he joins the Kiss My Ass Club to get back in good graces with Vince after Survivor Series, I believe.
I heard that's how Jeff Jarrett got back in the company.
Well, probably. We're at the match of the night now. Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, 3 Stages of Hell. This whole angle is fantastic. I texted you a couple weeks ago. The contract signing angle is one of my favorite pieces of business. So, Triple H and Steve Austin have had this rival. Triple H put out the hit on Steve Austin in November 99. Rikishi runs him over because he's bald and has a goatee.
And he did it for The Rock.
He did it for The Rock too, yes. Austin comes back. They have a match at Survivor Series. And then...
Which we covered.
Or no, we did not cover that Survivor Series. We covered No Mercy when Austin wrestled Rikishi.
Fair enough. When he tried to hit him with an ambulance.
Yes.
Or a truck.
Yes. He tried to run Rikishi over with a truck. Yes. So then after the Armageddon Hell in a Cell, Triple H goes away because he was hurt. He shows back up sometime in January and costs Austin a chance at the title against Kurt on Raw. And they're just, from then on, they're just in this bitter feud. Triple H has a match with Kurt for the title at the Royal Rumble, and Austin costs him the match. Austin goes on and wins the Rumble, and they're just, every week now, they're just attacking each other. And so Vince finally has enough, and they do a contract signing for a match here at No Way Out. And the stipulation of the contract is once the contract is signed, if there's any physical act of aggression, Triple H will be suspended for 6 months, and Austin loses his title shot at WrestleMania. So, Austin signs the contract. Triple H has a lawyer named Brian Gewirtz. And
Gewirtz.
Yes. And they're looking it over, and Triple H acts like he signs. And so, Triple H or Vince grabs the contract and is like, there you have it. There's your match at No Way Out. And immediately Triple H picks up his lawyer's metal briefcase and cracks Austin with it and just beats the holy hell out of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Mm-hmm. And I love Vince's delivery. You just got yourself suspended for 6 months, pal.
Yep.
And Triple H reveals, no, I'm not suspended because I didn't sign the contract. And then he signs the contract. So now Austin can't touch him. And so the rest of the time is just little things they do to each other, and it builds over the weeks of trying to get the other's goat. Austin is like drinking in Triple H and Stephanie's locker room and leaving a full toilet and leaving beer cans all over the place, and Triple H is doing stuff, and then finally the week leading into the pay-per-view on Raw, Austin hits a stunner on Stephanie. And then on SmackDown, Triple H delivers a pedigree to JR. So now it's like, it's heated. Along the way, Triple H, via a match between The Rock and Rikishi, wins the opportunity to name the stipulations for the match. So he says it's going to be 2 out of 3 falls. The first fall is your standard wrestling match. Second fall is a street fight. Third fall is a steel cage match. And that's where we are. Matt, take it from here.
What I like about this match, just on this show, is you don't get one of the standard interviews or I'm going to go kick his ass, blah, blah. Like, both men are there. The look on their face, they're not playing a character. Both these guys, it looked like they were there for an actual fight. And they tear into it right away. Yeah. And they go, I don't have the times in front of me, but they go.
I know the overall time of the match, but I don't have the times of each fall. So,
but the standard wrestling match, I love too that it's built up that this is Triple H's specialty, and Triple H has got the advantage here, and Austin can't do the things that Austin is known to do. And they go back and forth. Austin's working over Triple H's arm earlier in the match. Like, and when do you ever remember Austin working a body part?
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously they go right to the Austin's neck, and Triple H is just beating down on Steve's neck.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great back and forth, not what you would expect out of these two.
Mm-hmm.
And they catch everyone off guard with Austin. You know, Triple H goes up to the second rope to do a sledgehammer, and Austin turns around and catches him with the boot in the gut.
Sledgehammer, not the
a double axe handle.
Yes.
A double axe handle. So sure, not the Triple H.
I just want to clarify because it's of the parties involved here.
Yeah, he goes for a double axe handle, and Austin catches him with the boot to the stomach into the stunner, and you're like, holy crap! And that audience is just overwhelmingly excited to see Austin win this match.
My one critique on this fall, and maybe the whole match, is for all. You mentioned Triple H working on Austin's neck. He also worked on his knees quite a bit, especially in this first fall. Austin was in the figure 4 for quite a while, and then not really selling it the rest of the time. So just a minor. I know that's just something that you and I both notice. I think more than other people do. So that just a minor thing, but other than that, stellar. I love JR's commentary in this match. He has a line. It's during the second fall, during the street fight, when Austin's just annihilating Triple H on the outside. And he goes, "I don't like the son of a bitch, but I have a heart."
Yeah. Lawler and JR, this I noticed it throughout this show. This is like when I think of the two of them, this is the era I think of, because it's before Lawler leaves. The spot later in the match where Triple H goes and gets the sledgehammer, and Lawler's just like, "What's that doing under there, JR? Why'd you put that there?" And he's like, "I didn't give it to him, you dumbass. Why would I put it there? It's your desk too." Like, just spot on, great commentary.
Both guys get busted open during the second fall. Austin gets hit with a 2x4 wrapped in barbed wire, which I believe also came from the announce desk area.
Yes.
Somewhere in there. And then Hunter, this is one of those where it's like, today you kind of cringe a little bit because of what we know now, but there's also a part of me that still pops huge on these chair shots.
Yeah.
Austin just annihilates Hunter in the face.
Yeah, I mean, he does the full turnaround, like he's got his back to him, and he just turns around in full swing and just, I don't care. Triple H was always great about getting the hand up.
Yeah.
I don't care how much you put your hand in. You're getting destroyed.
Eventually, Triple H attempts a pedigree through the announce table, and Austin counters and back body drops him through the Spanish announce table. That thing implodes. But again, to your point about the first fall, everyone thought the street fight would favor Austin, and Triple H ends up winning the second fall with a pedigree after he hits him with the actual sledgehammer.
Which is so well done, too, because Austin goes for the stunner.
Mm-hmm.
Triple H has a sledgehammer in one hand. When Austin turns around to grab the neck, he shoves him into the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
Austin comes off and just boom, right with this, and it's so fluid and smooth. I was going to save this point for later, but this is Triple H at his absolute best.
Oh, yeah.
This is the best version of Triple H ever. And this is Austin on his way back up from the injury. These two are near the tops of their game at this point.
I said it when we talked in October about No Mercy and his match with Benoit. I've made the point on Twitter multiple times in various discussions. Hunter's run, especially from August of '99 through his quad injury in May here in a few months, he's so good. He is so good during that time period.
Yep. And when you look back at his career now, it feels like he was always trying to recapture that version of Triple H, and he never got there, in my opinion.
Well, because in the early to mid 2000s, he's trying to be Ric Flair while he's palling around with Ric Flair, and then and then they do their DX reboot and stuff, and it's
the reason I say that is he's talked about multiple times how with Evolution he wanted to become the most hated man in pro. He wanted to be this generation's Ric Flair, so to speak, and he had already hit that, in my opinion, in 2000 and 2001, and he never was able to get back to that level. And I think the injury is part of the problem, because he comes back as a babyface,
exactly,
and no one wanted to boo him for a really, really long time.
But you can leave Ric Flair wannabe Triple H in the suits. Give me Triple H in the leather jacket with the jean jacket cut off over top of it. That's the Triple H I want.
Who will do anything it takes to get to the top. Exactly. Doesn't matter what it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we get to the cage match. Austin goes real hard into the sides of the cage a few times, and like right in the middle too, where the supports are. Not like in the meshy fence part, which I'm sure still hurts, but right in the center of the panel where they've got a bunch of steel beams bracing everything together. But they go back and forth, and eventually Hunter wins the third fall and the match. He hits they hit each other. Triple H has got the sledgehammer and Austin's got the 2x4, and they hit each other, but Triple H happens to land on top of Austin and gets the lucks into the 3 count, I guess.
Yeah, and leading up to that, Triple H hits the pedigree. Austin kicks out. Austin hits a really sloppy stunner, but it's almost like I loved how that was done, because it was almost like Hunter fell into Steve instead of just standing up straight and letting Austin pull his neck down. It was almost like it seemed more real at that point. And Austin's got the barbed wire 2x4. They go to hit each other, and just a great finish. And totally not expected. There's no chance I thought that was going to happen.
No, because
back in the day.
Yeah, because Austin's on his way to WrestleMania, so
right, and it makes no sense for Austin to lose going into it. But
I think the way they did it, they protected him enough where it didn't hurt him.
Right. So. No, not at all. And throughout the night, one of the things I noticed is they did a really good job of keeping their top acts in each kind of division protected, and allowing them to still be a threat, going into WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And this obviously sets up, well, if Austin wins the title at Mania, Triple H has the right to ask for a championship match, because he's beaten Austin clean, no controversy, beat him in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3.
Right. Austin hits a stunner after the match, kind of get your heat back, brother. But yeah, this
Austin must pose.
Yeah. This match goes almost 40 minutes. What'd you think of the placement?
I like it.
Okay.
Because to me, the World Championship should always be your main event. It's one of my little stupid wrestling stickler things. If the whole business is based around who's the best, the World Championship match should always be your headline fight.
Right. Okay.
And real quick,
I thought right smack dab in the middle. I guess not watching the whole thing in 20 years. I guess in my head I figured it was, if it wasn't the main event, it was like semi-main, or maybe there was like a buffer match in between. But having it like right smack dab in the middle felt a little weird to me. But I mean,
well, you run the risk. I mean, I think they knew that match was going to be great.
Yeah.
And as we see a year later, you run a big time match put the world title match too close to it, you're killing your crowd for the main event, no matter who's in the match. So, no, I like the placement, and especially with what they do after it, what match is next. It brings you back down a little, then they bring you up a little more before the main event. Real quick before we move on, just going back to this match, aside from Brett and Steve at WrestleMania 13. I think this is Stone Cold's best match in the WWE. And I don't know that Triple H has a better singles match until the Hell in the Cell with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 28.
Yeah, I mean, again, like that's something I'd have to like really think about. But your Austin,
I thought about it.
Well, I know you have. I think your Austin point it is valid. I would, and I guess I'll be able to give you a better once I get to WrestleMania of this year, because you know me, I love his match with The Rock at 17.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's if it's not number 2, it's number 3. I think
for me, the tipping point for me is it's 40 minutes, pretty nonstop action. There's not a ton of rest holds and stuff. There's a few. There's absolutely some downtime. They got to get their win no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have the bullcrap finish like WrestleMania 17 does. Austin's doing the job, which in this time period, he doesn't do the clean job like at all.
Yeah.
He does it like 2 or 3 times. And it's just it's a really well done match.
Okay. Yeah.
And to my Triple H point, to me, his best match is with Cactus at Royal Rumble the year before. But after this, he doesn't have another match of this quality, in my opinion, until what was that, 2012 at WrestleMania 28 or
20?
Yeah, it's 2012.
Or no, 2012. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, for me, it's an 11-year difference of what he is at when he's at his best.
Yeah. Yeah. So then we get after that match, we get Taz coming out. He's going to do commentary with good old JR for the rest of the show, actually. Because next up we have Steven Richards of The Right to Censor versus Jerry Lawler. And Jerry Lawler is fighting for the right for the cat to get naked. Welcome.
Go on. I've got nothing.
That's all I got.
I've got nothing I can say that won't get me in trouble. So go ahead.
Yeah. And so I had completely forgot about this angle for good reason. And it's really weird because isn't it the next week? It's shortly hereafter. They fire the cat, and then Jerry walks out because of it, because they were married at the time.
2 weeks. It's 2 weeks later. Yeah. Because you're Monday Night Raw. I don't know the exact date of the show, but it's the first week of March.
And I completely forgot. So
it's the first week of March. Heyman shows up on Raw.
So so that would have been the week after this, because this is the 25th. Right. So luckily this only goes 5.5 minutes, because it was just a bunch of Ivory runs in and the cat runs in, and the cat.
It's Memphis. It's Memphis wrestling at at the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah. Okay.
A cat accidentally ends up hitting Lawler with the women's title. So
she hits him with the wrong side of the belt too.
Yes.
She hit him with the strap side instead of the metal. Which
again, you contrast that one simple spot, and then you look at the match that Trish and Stephanie had earlier in the night, and it's like night and day. Mm-hmm. So now the cat's got to join the Right to Censor for a week until she's fired. And so then we get Michael Cole. He interviews the Brothers of Destruction. And, lots of, that's our yard, we're the big dogs, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So now we get a triple threat tag team tables match.
Real quick, though. I didn't like in the interview with Taker where he's like, you think this is about the tag titles? The tag titles are about the match. This is about us beating people up. Come on, man. You're the Undertaker. You expressing that winning gold on the tag titles, just saying that elevates them a little more. And really, you just kind of crapped all over what these teams are fighting about normally. So
I got his point.
It's not the best look.
No. So it's Edge and Christian versus Kane and Undertaker versus the Dudley Boys, who are the champions.
All brother tag teams in this match too.
Exactly. First thing I noticed was because I don't know, I have a fascination with this kind of gear and obviously entrances.
Kane, you're gonna say the Kane thing, right?
Well, both Kane and Undertaker. Like Undertaker was wearing an outfit that was more like what he was wearing before he left in late 99, and what he would wear like later in like the 2007 2008, like tights with boots and like this looked more like a basketball jersey had the Taker symbol on it. It just because in this area he's wrestling in jeans or leather pants or something and a tank top, and then Kane is just it's the black bodysuit with the see-through flames that he was wearing at this time, but normally those are red, and they were just plain. It was really weird.
That's what stood out to me. I was like, I don't ever remember seeing Kane in the gray on black gear.
Yeah,
I did never stuck with me. So yeah, I totally noticed that. Like, what? Why isn't he wearing the red? But whatever. Switch it up a bit, right?
Right. This is like my one criticism of this pay-per-view is every match except for the Triple H Steve, I'll spit it out eventually, Triple H Steve Austin match, every other match had interference in it.
Yeah. Yep. It's a symptom of the era, I think.
Yeah. Because Rikishi and Haku, who still technically is the WCW Hardcore Champion at this point,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he wins. Quick side, he wins the WCW Hardcore title at Sin, which is their January pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
A week later at the Royal Rumble is when
he's there.
He returns, and he was the WCW Hardcore Champion at the time.
Awesome, good. And knowing what we know about Ming / Haku.
Yeah.
If anyone wanted to pose a threat to him about it,
nope.
they were just gonna keep it to themselves.
Yep.
So
that's do we want to make him give the belt back? Nope.
I'm not going to get it from him. You go ask him.
But they come out and attack Undertaker and Kane, and eventually Dudley's 3D Christian through a table, and they retain the titles. 12 minutes.
Two quick things.
Yeah.
When Kane and Undertaker are going to powerbomb Edge and Christian through the tables and the Dudleys hit them with the chair, did you notice Bubba hits Taker in the back of the head with the top of the steel chair?
No.
But he hits him hard. And if you look at Bubba's face, he's got the look like,
oh, crap.
No. That wasn't good.
I can't remember who was doing what to who. I think it was, I can't remember if it was they were getting ready to chokeslam either Edge or Christian through a table, but they did the spot where, the other person comes in from behind and tips the table over. And whenever that spot happens, I'm so fearful that the person getting the move done to them is going to land on the legs sticking straight up.
Yeah. It's when Edge and Christian are going to suplex Undertaker. Kane flips it, and he doesn't flip it far enough, and then at the last second, he kicks it away.
Yes.
And Taker's leg misses it by that much.
Yes, that's what it was. And then there was a table that somehow, one of the legs got bent on the one side underneath of it. So it was like a table laying like this.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny.
Well, and then Edge, the finish, you can tell Edge is supposed to go through that table, and he doesn't. Yeah. I don't know if he picked it up.
Yeah.
You can hear him say to Bubba, just throw me out, and Bubba picks him up and throws him out of the ring, and they go into the 3D. The other point I wanted to make was I forgot how big of a pop the Dudleys got for the was up, get the tables, that whole thing. that crowd, like they're waiting the whole match for
Yep.
it. The minute they go into that move, you see the crowd stand up and they're just so excited to do that stupid thing.
Yeah. Speaking of things picked up on the camera, I forgot to mention this during the Austin Triple H match. You can clearly hear Austin drop an F-bomb. He tells Hebner to get the F out of here.
Yeah.
Like,
see, I feel like stuff like that is missing from pro wrestling now.
Yeah.
These guys are supposed to be in a fight, and the referee's in the way. You're not going to be, sir, can you please kindly step to the side?
Quick side note: my favorite instance of that is WrestleMania 12. Diesel.
Yeah.
When he's walking in the ring, and he's like, "I'm the shit. I'm telling you."
So good. I wonder what the Kevin Nash character could have been in the Attitude Era.
Oh man, it would have been so good. So then we get Michael Cole interviewing The Rock. It's a very short Rock promo. Rock needs to sue Karrion Kross for gimmick infringement. Rock was doing TikTok 20 years ago.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people The Rock could sue for gimmick infringement over the last 20 years. I love this promo, though, because it's not the typical Rock. You know, The Rock's going to go out there and lay the smackdown on Kurt Angle's candy. It's short, sweet, to the point, and he's there for one reason. It's not game time anymore. He's going for the WWE Championship, and that's exactly what it should be.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're at the main event. The Rock is challenging Kurt Angle for the WWF title. You know, it's The Rock and Kurt Angle. Like, the more you tend to forget because he's been so, like, for the most part, gone for so long. But watching The Rock, especially in these big matches, maybe everything isn't technically great, but his movement in the ring is so fluid.
Yeah. What I noticed in this match is you could tell there were two high caliber athletes.
Yes.
Not professional wrestlers. These were guys. I mean, The Rock was a D1. Mm-hmm. I mean, he went to the best school in the country for college football. I mean, he was an All-American. Like, and then obviously, I guess Kurt Angle's got some credentials too.
He did some stuff.
Yeah, but like you said, their movements, the way and I noticed too, they both have so much in the tank. They're neither one of them is sucking wind in this match. They don't look gassed at all.
Yeah, I love The Rock's his over the head belly to belly. Just again, it's not technically great, but just I don't know, it just looks cool. And then when
it looks cool, go ahead.
Then when he's in the corner and he charges out of the corner and hits the clothesline out of the corner, I really like that move of his too.
Yeah, I've always hated that throw of his, and his dragon screw are two of the worst looking moves in wrestling.
Well, we don't have to talk about a sharpshooter either. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, no one does the sharpshooter right though. So.
Big Show comes out and chokeslams everybody. And then Kurt Angle actually kicks out of the people's elbow, which earns a bullshit chant from the crowd. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Which, if they're going to kick out of any one of his big moves, that's the one you kick out of.
It is, but no one did. Like,
I know.
No one kicked out of that move at this point.
He beat Hulk Hogan with that stupid move.
He beat Andre the Giant with that move.
Yeah. No, but like,
that
to your point from earlier in the night about like Big Show interfering and
it didn't make any
you're right. It doesn't make any sense, especially with
what Big Show was doing at the beginning of this show. Like,
well, and what he does at WrestleMania, like it had no place whatsoever. But again, for the time, that just happened all the time. And it didn't actually impact the outcome of the match, so I still enjoy it. I still like that match.
My favorite, so the referee that he chokeslams is Kyoto. So then Hebner, and I can't remember who the other referee, comes out, and they're starting to help Kyoto to the back, and then Hebner notices that the Rock's covering Angle, and he just drops Kyoto
Drops him.
and runs in the ring and counts the pinfall.
Yep.
I loved it. Rock hits a rock bottom, and I don't know if Hebner screwed up. There was a mess up here on that. So then he hits another rock bottom and wins.
Yeah, you can see when he hits the second rock bottom. You don't know what he says, but he looks up at Hebner, and you can see him yelling at Hebner, like, I assume count this effing 3 this time.
Yeah. So he regains the title from the guy he lost it to at No Mercy, and he goes on to face Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania.
And I know we mentioned this when we watched No Mercy. It's still wild that Kurt Angle is 14 months into his run, and he's so good at this point.
I was thinking about that in the first match, actually. When you think about, like, I mean, obviously, like, he's 14 months in. I mean, he did some training and stuff, but, like, he's at most like 3 years into his actual career. So it's not exactly apples to oranges, but you think about, you know, Jericho, who hadn't even been there 2 years yet. Eddie and Benoit were just there just over a year at that point. Like, so many of those guys who hadn't been there for very long were you know, they were important parts of the show.
This is why I think, you know. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, even Big Show, like, he's just now, you know, he debuted in February of '99, so he's just now there for 2 years. Like,
right. Well, and he went away for a long time too.
Mm-hmm.
You remember they sent him to the fat camp and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think you know my affinity for this era.
Yeah.
I will go to my dying grave that everything from November of 1999, Survivor Series 99 to WrestleMania 17 is the best 18-month period any company has ever had in professional wrestling. I love this era. And I think what sets it apart is you've got not one megastar, you've got 2 in The Rock and Austin. Mm-hmm. And then you have legends like Triple H and The Undertaker. Foley's around in that era that are playing support roles, and then you've got this undercard of some of the greatest in-ring wrestling talent that's ever existed. You mentioned Benoit and Guerrero and Jericho. X-Pac is there. Edge and Christian are on the rise. The Hardy Boys aren't even on this show, and they're coming into their own at this point. They've already arrived at this point, but we don't even know where they're going to go. The Dudleys have shown up. Trish and Lita are about to do something for women's wrestling that company had never done before. There is so much talent in this era. It's the best roster ever assembled. Jim Ross deserves all that credit that he takes every week on his podcast. Like, this era is stacked with talent.
You know,
Kane is like a bit player.
Yeah. You know, I built that roster, Connie. Huh.
Oh, sassafras. But, like, Rob Van Dam's not even there yet.
No.
Like, RVD and Booker T haven't shown up.
Yeah.
And you could make the case they didn't need those guys ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is the last pay-per-view where they have competition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to call WCW competition at this point.
Oh, you got to crush it.
Right.
You crush your competition.
Exactly. So yeah, we're on our way to WrestleMania 17, which, you know, you and I both agree is the best WrestleMania of all time. So,
and just so I can keep up with the hyperbole here, I don't think there's a better 3-month stretch of pay-per-views than January through March of, well, technically it's April 1st, but Rumble 2001, this show, and WrestleMania 17, when they all went to monthly pay-per-views, I don't think anyone had a run like this. 3 consecutive months where each show is just an absolute fantastic piece of business, and they build on top of each other all the way through. I love it.
Yeah. Yep. Me too, buddy. Me too. So, all right. Any last words on this show?
No, I think I've fawned over it enough and made it pretty clear that I love this pay-per-view.
Yes,
so
yes. As do I. All right. Well, thank you, sir, for joining me once again. As for you people out there, please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also, reminder, I've started releasing the audio version wherever you can find your podcasts. So go check those out if you don't want to look at my stupid face.
And it's not your face they're worried about.
Well,
no one wants to look at me.
It's my channel, so yeah, it probably,
Yeah, you bring them back. I drive them away with my face.
All right. So check out. I recently released my review of the new Foo Fighters album. You check out my my Valentine's Day special I did. I've got a review of Rush's classic Moving Pictures album coming up this month yet. So all good kinds of stuff. Check it out.
I'll definitely check out those reviews. I know you and I were texting about that Foo Fighters album. So
yeah, the more I listen to it, the more I love it.
Yeah, makes sense. Like I told you, I liked it a lot. So.
All right, Matt. Thank you for joining me. And
thank you for having me, man.
All you people out there, until next time, see ya.